Hi, this is Graham Helfrich, Technical Advisor Manager for the Engineering Software here at IHS Markit. Welcome to the weekly Did You Know episode, where we learn how to do something of value that you probably didn't know about your IHS Markit engineering software. Today's topic is about layers, and specifically water layers in your unconventional wells. So what happens if your fractures meet layers with high water content? And what is the impact of that? What I mean by this is when we have a pad. In this case, I've got 6 wells on a pad, and the view I have here is the shotgun view, or the wine rack view. So I'm looking at these yellow dots, which is the lateral section. I'm looking down the barrel of the lateral, and these wells are at different landing depths, so I've got my net pay here. So what happens if we introduce a water layer and the fractures are contacting that? How will that impact our well performance? So I'm going to show you how to do this, and we're going to be able to see how the individual well performance is going to be impacted, and also the total pad performance. Now, if you want to learn how to do this from scratch, I'm going to include a link at the end, which includes a 40-minute tutorial using the new multi-well models in Harmony Enterprise. And you're going to learn how to set up your wells with different well spacing, scheduling wells to come on at different dates, having wells at different landing depths, and then adding different layers. So I'll include a link for this 40-minute tutorial at the end. Let's jump into Harmony now. So here I've got my 6-well horizontal multi-frac pad, and this is my top-down view, and this is my shotgun or wine rack view. And so I've got these wells at different landing depths. Each well has a different productivity because of different fracture half lengths and SRV permeabilities, etc. So this is the case where I have no water layer. So I'm going to do a 10-year forecast, and we'll see how long it takes. I'm watching the bottom progress bar here. Again, this is a fully numerical multi-phase reservoir model. All the gridding is set up automatically for us here. So right now I'm looking at the pressure in the reservoir into the forecast. We're about halfway done our pad model here. There we go. So what I can see is I can see the individual well rate forecast for each of the wells. This is well number 1. This is the forecast for well number 2, well number 3, and this is the total pad cum, or total pad rate versus time. So we can kind of scroll back in time to see how the pressures or saturations are changing around each well into the future. So what about if instead of gas we have a layer of water here? How is that going to impact if it touches our wells? So I've made a duplicate scenario here, but this time I'm going to go down to layers. We're going to add a layer, and you can have as many layers as you want. And I'm going to say that this water layer is 200 feet. I'm actually going to give it about 10% gas saturation, 90% water, and we see that layer introduced here. Just to keep my overall net pay the same, I'm going to reduce the top layer to 800 feet. Okay, so now we are ready to do this forecast. We see that well number 1 is partway into the water layer. And what I'm watching now, I'm actually watching the water saturation here into the future. And we see some of the water is entering the frac here and going towards the well. But that's not the case for these other wells. Just about done here. Okay. So we can go back in time and see how things are different here with that water layer. The first thing I want to check out is maybe for well number 1, what is its water rate going to be? And I can see that its initial water rate is very high, over 1,000 barrels per day, because of how the fractures are connecting with that high water saturation layer. In comparison, the case where we don't have the water layer, my initial water rate is closer to 10 or 12 barrels per day at the start. Okay, so let's look at some of the results here that I sent over to the comparison plot. Okay, what we're looking at here is the well number 1, but now we're looking at its forecast on a cumulative versus time plot. So we see our gas, condensate, or oil actually, and our water rate is down here. It's quite low. Now in comparison, let's turn on well number 1's forecast with the water layer. So in this case, with the water layer connected to this frac, the water rate from well 1 is much higher, or the cum. The oil rate is suffering compared to no water layer. And the gas rate is also suffering. So we see for well number 1 how the cumulative difference can be changed with or without water. What about the overall pad? Okay, so this is the total pad cum production for oil, gas, and water when there's no water layer. Or this is the total pad oil cum with the water layer. So we're going to be negatively impacting our cumulative oil production and our gas production, but our water production will be quite a bit higher because of that contribution. So you can see how easy it is to consider the impact of your wells contacting layers with different fluid saturations. When you create these layers, you have the option to turn off crossflow between the layers. And what that means is only the fracture will be a path for the fluids to flow from one layer to another if you disable this. So really, what does this mean for you? Well, the best part is if you have wells with production history and you know or you suspect that there's a water layer that some of the wells are contacting, now you can include that in your history match to fine-tune it, better characterize your reservoir, and make a more reliable forecast. What this also means for you is if you're planning future wells and you're worried about the impact of how water layers may affect the well performance when connecting with your fractures, you can actually make these predictions really quickly and easily with our fast numerical multi-phase models. Now again, if you want to get up and running and learn how to use these models, check out the link I'm going to include in the description, and it includes this really nice and easy 40-minute tutorial to set your models up just like I've shown you here. And that's it. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please give me a call or email me, and subscribe to be notified of next week's Did You Know episode.